because I'm not really focusing on drama and anything foolishness. I really get into listening to some of the Law of One stuff on Scott's channel, and I'd like to share some of that because it's talking about fourth density. And as you know, feeling as if I'm a wanderer and not really from Earth, but from a higher density. I don't know if I get to go to fourth density and have to go to fourth density again, or if I get to go home. But I'm very interested in the conditions of fourth density, as I think you may be as also.
Not a matter of mechanical working on the seven with mathematics, rather than it is a matter of balancing each of the seven with themselves, with each other. The relative importance of balancing as opposed to the relative unimportance of maximal activation of each energy center. Why? Because on the positive path, balance does the work. Balance allows harvestability. Balance is associated with the way of living in reality, or the path of truth in love, or love in truth, positive path of unity. Different than the negative path, which is very much exclusionary. The positive path is absolutely inclusionary, absolutely inclusive. Yet that radical inclusivity, for it to be workable or stable for work to be done, meaning continued evolution of the soul, there must be balance. Nature is infinite profusion, but if you don't know how to do gardening or landscaping, everywhere becomes a jungle. And so balancing is the careful landscaping and careful arrangement of the totality that we wish to know and be and realize as our true identity. And so how do you handle radical inclusivity in a stable way? It can only be done by balance. So, on the positive path, this regularizing of the various energies of experience means regularizing of the middle five. Regularizing or making a balanced relationship between the middle five, second and third chakras of the personal, fourth and fifth, the transpersonal mind, and sixth, the Atmanic, charioteer, who's guiding the interplay of mind, body, in its spiritual truth. And so it's the middle five that need a stabilized activation, relationship, coordination. That's balance. Not simply the balancing of second, third, or love, wisdom. Second, third, healing, releasing a blockage by the balanced activation of love, wisdom, 4, 5. That's not the only balance. There's the balance of the five with it as a whole. So, a very fragile person, a very weak, physically weak person, the librarian, the geek, not the geek maybe, those people maybe are very unbalanced, but the very mild-mannered milk toast, plain Jane and vanilla.
I'm looking for the 14th.
This 51% service to other, which is kind of a funny way of putting it.
That's the
it really, but it also requires minimal or a certain balance of the primary rays development, 1, 3, 5, red, yellow, blue, physical anchoring and physical incarnative stability, 1, and some degree of harmonized, balanced, appropriate engagement with society and groups according to one's positive path, and then sufficient degree or minimal degree of wisdom development activation, blue, 5, fifth ray, associated with knowing oneself and communicating and knowing others and being able to communicate with them, as the way one lives in a harmonious relation to society and groups, which is the yellow ray. So that 135 development and green ray is what's needed for harvestability 3 to 4 positive. And now Don asked some questions about harvest and about fourth density. 43.9, Don's question. In the next density, in fourth density, is the catalyst of physical pain used as a mechanism for experiential balancing? Ross says, the use of physical pain is minimal, having only to do with the end of the fourth density incarnation. This physical pain at the end of the fourth density incarnation would not be considered severe enough to treat in third density, meaning it's pretty mild. The catalysts of mental and spiritual pain are used in fourth density, meaning in 4D positive, there really isn't physical pain. And so smiling wanderers who may be quite smart, maybe they're 5D wanderers positive, say, oh, in the future we're going to have energy medicine. We're going to have radionics or radiatory energy, subtle new medical technologies available, thinking that that'll be the case in fourth density. Well, maybe. It's also possible that there's actually no illness in fourth density.
I like rather the state of there being no illness. I like having a body, but not having all the limitations that the body brings you, as with hunger, violence, aggression, getting old, really old, and feeling you're about to have death. As I understand it, you would be extended over a vastly greater period of time in your incarnation. I'm not exactly sure how old they have. I've heard it before, though. Let me look it up and see. Let's ask the robot. What is the age span of someone? Oh. Let me get myself out of here. In the law of one, which introduced the concept of densities, an age span of typical human sense does not apply in the fourth density being. This is because the fourth density being is understood as a higher vibrational state of consciousness, not a fixed physical form with a finite lifespan. Instead of being a specific age, fourth density is characterized by a different relationship with time, a more collective consciousness, and a heightened level of love and understanding. Transcendence of linear time. The fourth density being have a different relationship with time. Well, then that's legit. Potentially accessing multiple timelines, experiencing non-linearly. The concept of immortality takes on a new meaning, where the being's existence is not measured by the progression of time in the way that a third density is. Collective consciousness. Primary mode of existence is a unified collective consciousness. Fourth density beings are far more cooperative and experience a higher degree of empathy and love than those of third density. This strong sense of oneness makes an individual age or lifespan less significant. Physical and spiritual evolution. Beings who have transitioned from third to fourth density, either through planetary shift or individual evolution, undergo the change in the physical and spiritual makeup. A physical body may take several hundred years to fully adapt to this higher vibrational state. The cycle of densities in the law of one planets planets and consciousness evolve through different densities over vast periods of time. For a planet like Earth, the transition from a third to fourth density environment is a long cycle. Individual lifespans within this framework are seen as part of a larger, grander cycle of spiritual evolution. Ultimately, the transition from human measurement of age becomes irrelevant in a fourth density reality. The focus shifts from during the single individual life to an ongoing evolution of spiritual collective consciousness. Isn't that special? Let's get back to the reading. Hey, motherfucker, how you gonna be there? You gonna take it away? See, come on, man.
And so, biblical and other religious accounts of heaven talk about no aging or no sickness or something. There is aging, but it's very subtle and very, very non-obstructive, and there may actually be no illness whatsoever, meaning no pain, nor pain. Can there be pain without illness? Probably not. But there's certainly mental and spiritual pain, which means they still have distortions in mind, and they still are not complete. They're not complete and perfect enlightenment. They're not cosmic Buddhas. They're just 4D positive. So the Pleiadians and whatever other group that present and do channeling, if they are, have a long way to go. But there may actually be no physical illness or debility at the body level in 4D, in fourth density positive. So that's interesting. 4310, why is physical pain a part of the end of fourth density? Ra said, you would call this variety of pain weariness. Ra had said that Carla had felt a certain weariness or commented on her weariness, which was considered to be a spiritual product of the vibrational mismatch between her native higher dimensional mind and being, which I think is sixth density now. Hi, Carla. And the evolving raw contact, where she was resting in the form maker body, resting in sixth density ease, but then coming back into the body after sessions. And the mismatch between the higher dimensional quality and the qualities of feeling in third density incarnation, leading to a chronic long-term weariness. Many wanderers feel this. I can feel this. I understand what that is. And that's akin to the very, very mild, not needing to be treated pain, so-called pain at the body level at the end of fourth density, at the end of the incarnation. They're just tired of being in that body, and it's time to shed that body. Just like some wanderers who are somewhat clear.
I feel like I'm a wanderer that's somewhat clear. I think a lot of the people that are on subscribers to my channel are wanderers too. A lot of y'all are. You're just not the normal human, most of you. I don't mean that in the bad way. I mean that in absolutely the best possible way at all. This makes me look like I have man tits. I'm pretty sure it's just the shirt. Although I have pics, I don't have man boobs. But I feel that way a lot myself. And I don't think it's that difficult to get to that point. I mean, considering that you have to mix in all the other things that you do and think about in your dealings with other people. And if you really just care about yourself and you want to make that 95% service to self switch to the dark side, you've got to be a really darker and eviler person to do that. That's just my take. There's a lot of people that are just normies and they're not really making a move to do anything or care to be about anything in life, or they're easily caught up in thinking they're good, but in the wrong ways. And I think a lot of liberals are like this. Not to, I mean, just to use an example, because think of how service to self, if it divides consciousness from being able to see unity, they try to perceive their own little group as unity, but they shut out and exclude all the actual reality of people that are not in the group that they care about. They project a lot of stuff that's coming from them, hate and things like that, because I don't hate any of them, you know, and I'm not racist. And I think that what is actually going on in that projection of negative quality onto other self, because it's true that they don't have any mechanism to actually get to know. They will not really engage you mostly at all. They just like to call you names and ad hominem attacks. So it seems indicative that they are captured by the philosophy of the service to self path. And it's really sad. It's really sad being in the belief that you're good and trying to be good and trying to work towards what is ultimately truth and light, and then to find that you really miss the mark in a way like that. It's very, very upsetting. Anyway, please like, share, and subscribe.